Good afternoon, and we are at Strathmore University Microsoft Auditorium, stakeholders event for the Just Green Africa project funded by the European Union. So I will first ask the project coordinator, Professor Stefano Barberis, to just give us a brief overview about the project.
Yes. Few words about Just Green Africa. Just Green Africa is a project funded under Horizon Europe framework, funded by the European Commission and the Clean Hydrogen Partnership. It is a project whose goal is to promote cooperation between Europe and Africa in order to, let's say, develop joint mutual benefit roadmaps for the promotion of green hydrogen in both continents. It is a project that involves 11 consortium members from Europe and Africa, and it envisages the cooperation of these members, let's say, for both creating such roadmaps, but also in activities like modeling, knowledge sharing, and other R&D purposes. As I said, even today, the project is a stakeholders-driven project, so the inputs from our stakeholders are always relevant, and they have been relevant even during the first phase of the project. As you said, we are in the middle of this adventure, and the insights that we collected from the stakeholders have been helpful, particularly to understand that maybe some approaches to hydrogen R&D and hydrogen application and clean hydrogen projects development that usually are applicable in Europe cannot be fully translated and replicated in Africa. One example is the paradigm of the hydrogen valley that Europe is promoting a lot, and for Europe is, let's say, super beneficial. Maybe in Africa we should constrain a little bit more in terms of geographic perimeter in order to identify maybe hard to abate industries that are quite, let's say, scattered here and there along the continent to support their decarbonization thanks to green hydrogen. Other aspects, for example, related also to how to finance this project are challenges that cannot be faced with the same approach like in Europe, but with the support of our partners and of our stakeholders, we will get for sure new suggestions for our roadmaps.
Yes, thank you. My name is Laurent Bochereau. I'm the science counselor for the European Union to the African Union. I'm based in Addis Ababa. And my job is to promote the cooperation between both continents in the field of science, technology, innovation.
Thank you. Now, following up onto that, how does the EU envision providing support and fostering partnerships to ensure a successful and mutually beneficial transition, particularly in the context of a project such as the Just Green Africa had?
Yes, as Professor Barberis explained, the reason we're here today is meeting organized as part of a project funded by the Horizon Europe program, which is our flagship for research and innovation in Europe. We have other projects running as part of this program, and the so-called Africa Initiative within the program, where we identify a number of topics, as we call them, where we called for consortia to compete and propose proposals. See, this is not coming from nowhere. We have a policy dialogue between the EU and the AU, involving also member states, where we regularly meet. And one of the panel is dedicated to climate change and sustainable energy. In the context of those discussions, this topic came up as a strong recommendation. Besides this funding through the Research Innovation Program, which is competitive, we also intervene through the international program we call Global Gateway, where we worked on a bilateral basis through our colleagues in the EU delegation to Kenya, but also with the help of the European Investment Bank, for instance. And as we heard today, the roadmap, which was adopted by Kenya in September, contains, I think, 47 actions, and a number of them are being supported by the Global Gateway Program through grants and loans, which help on a bilateral basis together with Kenyan authorities and stakeholders, the development of green hydrogen in Kenya.
In terms of your experience, can you share more details about the Clean Hydrogen Partnership's role in supporting global initiatives and potentially and particularly in Africa, given the context and framework in which we are meeting today?
I just need to make a clarification between the discussions that happen today and tomorrow, because we are discussing first potential, we are discussing collaboration, and we are discussing research and innovation. And I think there is a caveat in all of them, because potential to exploit, and in all of them, we can deal with partnerships of all natures, if you want. And we heard also from today also questions and discussions. If we talk about potential, it's a potential for having green hydrogen in Africa, and the potential to exploit it here, or why not to export it to Europe. So that's one thing. If we talk about then research and innovation, that's where I'm becoming interested more, if you want, myself. And I think this is where we should see, and maybe building on what my colleague Laurent said, this is where I would like to see where we can work together. Because there are issues in Europe that are still to be solved. There are issues in which we still work on research and innovation, and maybe these are issues that are common for both continents. We just talked about building capacity, skills. I don't think we are done in Europe either. We are still continuing to build the training material. We are still looking at what exactly are the needs in capacity building. And I give you just one example, because I think it's important. We will look, for example, and we see the need to train as soon as possible people that give permits. We are experiencing in Europe a vast, if you want, margin of approval processes from 6 months to 4 years. And I'm sure you are having the same challenge in Africa, now that you are putting hydrogen projects in place. And I think this is where maybe it would be interesting that together we work to train these people as soon as possible on both continents. But this is where, with our funds from the European Union, I would like to look at the government somehow from your side to see what are the common interests, not only the potential, but the common interests to work together, and why not put the funds together?
Thank you, and I think this is a very appropriate point in which to bring Professor Israel De Silva onto the discussion, as he is the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Research and Innovation, and he can perhaps contextualize what the collaboration that both you and Lorraine have presented, as well as in the context of local impact, and especially Strathmore being a key member of the Just Green Hydrogen project.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I was actually discussing a couple of minutes ago with Stefan here about what is tomorrow, you see? Because this project that has brought us together today is a 24-month project. And we are in the you have 11 months to finish, yeah? So when it finishes, so what? And then that brings what you, Mirala, said about a more long-term relationship. Yeah. Yeah, and the example is pre-LIP-RE, then LIP-RE, and now continuing within beyond 2025. So that I feel it is an important thing for us to be in agreement. I don't need to wait for you or convince you, please put a call about this. We both know it is important, and we have worked together, and we have enjoyed working together, for instance, so we can deliver. And this, I find, it is the clear path for us to work together. Academia, you know, development agencies that make development like such as yours, and then the private sector. No? Yeah, and what is the line? What is the focus? Is the so-called 4 Ds: decarbonization. More than 180 countries are in favor of it and fighting for it. Yeah, including the Arabs. Decentralization, that we have the new technologies allow us to produce electricity in the same place where I consume that electricity. Therefore, I do away with investment capital in transmission and distribution, and no losses. The 3rd D is digitalization. Everybody is in it. It's artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, cloud computing, you know. And when Enel, the utility of Italy, bought 15 million connections in Brazil in 2019, the first thing they did was to create a twin, a digital twin for each and every item in that utility they bought. Yeah, so it's make it simpler, make it cheaper. It is what actually you are enjoying in Europe and we are not yet enjoying here. You have big data, you do analytics, you can choose, buy energy today from A, tomorrow from B, the other day from C, like that. And finally, the last D is democratization of energy. The whole 1.3 billion Africans have an economy that is smaller than the economy of France, with 66 million people. Why is that? Because we don't have electricity. More than 600 million people do not have, and it is a moving target because every year 30 million new Africans are born, you know, and it's very good. It's a young country, but we need to train these people.